So I came across this video. Now, remember I told you this double-edged sword principle thing has been playing for quite some time. And nobody is really addressing the issue with it. It's a lot of stuff going on, but nobody's saying anything about it. Now, you may be correct on some things, but some things we all are not correct on. Yes, it's wrong to have your phone up loud in church. Now, do a lot of people kind of like be like, hey, it happens to everybody? Yeah, mostly in every church, it happens to everybody. But what we're dealing with is demonic churches too. So in a demonic church, their job is to force you to leave, force you to go, you know, and that's a double-edged sword, you know what I'm saying? Like the double-edged sword, I can tell you, God alone is not going to save you. You have to first make the choice. You have to choose to serve God. You have to choose to do what you're supposed to do. Because guess what? God can save you today and you'll be right back in demonic possession tomorrow. It's a choice. You're going to have to make that choice because it'll be a waste of time to intervene and do an intervention only to cause the righteous to be held captive. But nobody wants to look at it that way. Because the moment you say, well, God can't save me, I'm going to have to save myself by doing what God says do, they get upset because you're not understanding. I'm a woman that came out of demonic possession, so I know what it consists of. And I know if I don't make the right choices, God ain't able to intervene. I'm going to have to choose God so that God can intervene and do what he do. But they don't want to hear that because they consider it a double-edged sword. The same as this saying. Let's be real. You got demonic churches. They ain't really serving God. They come to sit up there and lure and prey and be predators on the righteous. So this guy, he makes this YouTube video and he's like, well, the church isn't embracing people and the church isn't this and the church isn't that. A lot of times these churches is put together in the same way they have criminal organization, they have holy organizations. It depends on which one you choose to partake in. Everybody want money. Everybody want money. Everybody want cash. Everybody want all this stuff, but nobody want to do the right thing to get it. And it's sad. But he's saying, okay, he goes to the bar. Let me be real with you. The bar is the worst place to go right now. They shoot you for wasting a drink on it. But he wants to give you the interpretation that it's a safe haven, and it's not. See, we have to be careful of these double-edged swords. Being real, you might spill a drink on somebody, whether it's a woman or a man, and you might end up dying that night. But that's where you chose to go. You have to sit up there and remember, everybody say, Lord, Lord, they're gonna be saved. They can say, Lord, Lord, all day. Doesn't mean that they're going to be saved. Doesn't mean that they made the appropriate choices. Doesn't mean that they're going to do what they're supposed to do. Man, God can intervene tomorrow on all our lives. And trust me, he does. He intervenes on all our lives, right? And the enemy have you so bound up under demonic possession, you can't even remember the intervention that the God people brought. You can't remember the intervention. You can't even save yourself. Sometimes it takes God intervening just to save you so that you can make a sound decision. And at that time that you make that sound decision, you have to choose to save yourself. And trust me, when you choose to save yourself, it is a fight. It is a fight. The same men that said they didn't want you, and women that said that they didn't want you, them the main ones fighting, trying to put you back in demonic possession. Trying to get you to go back out with them, trying to get you to date them. They never wanted you. You were never of importance to them. these are these double-edged sword. I'm linking the video that I was watching that made me make this comment about these double-edged sword, because you're gonna look at that video and the first thing you're gonna think, oh, I'm gonna get friendship in a bar, and you're not. You're gonna meet the same thing you met in that church, because that's what's following you, and that's what the enemy wants you to see. So on neither one of them home fronts, you're gonna meet God, because first of all, maybe that church ain't what you really interpreting. See, what's going on, you're dealing with a matriarch society, a luminary society. They have no in God we trust. Some of them don't even believe in God. Some of them do. You're going to have to face your demons yourself. I did this exercise with my son. We were playing an Uno game. And I told him just like this. I said, sweetheart, I'm going to teach you something about life. Any hand that you feel that I deal to you that is unfair to you, you're able to switch it with me at the first beginning of the game. And I sat up and I told him, I said, but remember this, you will not be able to switch the hands that are dealt to you in life. You can either play them and play them to the best of your ability. And even if you lose, you can say, hey, I only had one card left. I played that thing to the T, to the best. I don't think nobody else can play a losing hand better than I played that hand. Or you can choose to sit up there and switch with me, and that's an automatic cave. When I did this exercise with him, I was surprised. He chose not to switch not one of his hands with me. He chose to deal with what he was dealt, even if it meant him losing. But the thing about it, we rehearsed why he lost. We rehearsed, okay, what maybe some things that you could have did different, how I would have played this. We have to actually break and brief our children on a lot of different stuff, like how to actually get the most out of a bad hand. We were dealt a bad hand. We're in the projects. We don't have money. We're subservient to a lot of things. We don't have things the way that we want to have it. So how am I going to play this hand? I have to learn how to cope and deal with life. It's not fair to me that nobody cares for me. It's not fair to me that I should be subject to hurt constantly. It's not fair to me that I have to be around people that don't love me and don't care about me. It is very unfair to me. But despite these situations, how I choose to respond will automatically determine whether my situation gets better or worse, whether it improves or it de escalates. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that overnight Rome wasn't built. They swear that Rome was built overnight. They swear that the Catholic churches was built overnight. They swear that all of his work was built overnight. Some of this work took generations and legacy after legacy after legacy after legacy to actually improve and to make the difference. We are at a point where we have to be careful, because we are dealing with double-edged swords. And a double-edged sword is going to tell you, hey, you're not having sex, but you're dealing with rape situations. You might as well go ahead and do it. That's a double-edged sword. I'm not sexually active, but here I am catching STDs. I'm not sexually active, but here I am going through trauma. Do I stick to God's principles? Or do I cave and throw my whole hand in? I'm not making money like I want to make money, but I am making something. Do I sit up there and do I continue to not make the money that I want? Or do I make the money that I want and then apply for other jobs so that things can get better? This is a double-edged sword. It's from one extremist to the next. One extremist to the next. It's very extremely saddening to a person when they have to endure certain things that they should not have to endure because of situations and environments and the circumstances that they're being forced into. But just because we are forced into bad situations doesn't mean that we cannot respond godly to them. That's what the enemy's doing. That's a double-edged sword he used. Okay, you're doing everything right, but you don't get no reward. You did everything the appropriate way. You served God, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, you ain't getting nothing here on earth. You're going to be worse than Lazarus on earth. You tortured constantly. You're taken through constantly with all the great miracles that happen in you. You're going through so much. You're going through so much. But you did everything right. Are you going to cave? Are you going to serve God despite the situation? And it's the same thing that I was talking about before. Okay, God can't save you if you're not willing to pick up your cross and walk with it. And cross means those afflictions, those burdens, those headaches. Man, I didn't do nothing wrong. Remind you, Jesus was bearing a cross of other people's sin. And that's the same way it is today, where some of us are bearing crosses of generational curses that our people didn't even do nothing wrong in. Will you pick up your cross and will you still walk despite the situation? Will you sit up there? You're being crucified for no reason. They lying on you and stuff like that. It don't matter if you're at work. It don't matter if you're in school. They are lying on you. And you're telling them, you are lying on me. What do they care? You still got to pick up that cross and walk. You still got to play that hand of Uno, because that's how it's dealt. You won't get to switch out. You can either man up, woman up, and play, or lose. And that's the sad part about it. A lot of us is losing. I told my son, I said, baby, it's not over until it's over. I can have one card in my hand, you can still come back and defeat me. And he sat up there, he actually witnessed that. And I wasn't taking no mercy on him. Had like one card, he had like I think about 4 or something in his hands, and he still came back and won on me. So like I told him, it's not over till it's over. I trust in God. I believe in God. I know what God is capable of doing. I have to sit up there and I have to choose God and save myself. It's not just about God choosing you. Many are called. Many are chosen. You gonna answer? Are you gonna answer? Are you ready to go through a laborer's job? I know you heard about what happened to Job, but actually, Job means job. It's a laborer's job. Are you ready to go through a laborer's job? Are you ready to work? Are you ready to labor for God? The enemy came and said, you've made him rich. That's the only reason why he served you. Could you only imagine this man's wife? The wife must be was with him when he somewhat was in the growth process. You know how women come along, or the men come along when you're in the growth process. Women, be careful, because these men think like women. You are anointed, so you think different. They think different from you. as men. Some of these women do too. So you have to be careful. He's in the process of going up. She hooks up with him. Everything goes on good. Everything's good. He serves his God, and his God blesses him. But guess what? What happens when it's hard for God to get a blessing through to you? I have lost child after child after child. They have taken my children from me. They have taken my resources from me. I used to have animals and this and that and cars. I was just that was money, and I didn't have to stress. But now it's time to stress because this is where God found me at. God found me with nothing. He made something out of nothing. And now that you've seen something, but you didn't know me back when I had nothing. You didn't know me back when there was no money flowing. There was no opportunities. And now you're angry. Now you're upset. If you only knew where God brought me from, that's where I was at. I was in ashes. I was shattered. God rose me from the ashes like a phoenix and put me on the top. Now I soar through the sky. But if you only knew. But this is a laborer's job. He had to tell his wife to her face. He said, if I could only serve God when he's good to me. And then I betray him when things go bad. Am I only going to serve God because God's word has been good to me? Or am I going to serve the word of God even when it's hitting me with a double-edged sword? My beginning is a double-edged sword. I chose God, and the enemy say, I'm going to make you regret every bit of it. I went through hell and still going through hell almost every day. Nobody knows. Only God is giving me strength to push forward. And the fact that I chose him and chose to save myself by trying to live by the word of God. And guess what? I go through hell because of it. I have been going through them trying to erase my memory, going through dazes. Y'all don't understand. When Charles sat up there and he said the word, made the song "This Means War," and he don't put I might be in a daze, but you can't have my praise. No matter the attack, I won't turn back. And they're screaming at him, this means war. And he's going in all out warfare for his faith and his belief, man. There are times I'm in dazes. I'm in a daze. There are times when I'm sitting up there and I have worked for what I got and it's taken from me. And I'm not freely giving it or willing to give away that which is mine. I fight for it. I'm willing to fight for it. We can go blow for blow. I fight for what is rightfully mine. And I'm sickened at the same time. Because you imagine fighting and you sick, but you still screaming, we going blow for blow. I ain't backing down. I didn't do nothing. And you sick as a dog, you barely stand up. You can barely function. You sick, afflicted. You shouldn't even be talking about something. We can go blow for blow. You should be talking about something. Look, I'm finna just sit here and look at you. But only God knows. Know what we're getting into. Trust God. Choose to save yourself by choosing God. May these words encourage you and bless you. Take care.